agenda.
Give me a second. I'll put the agenda up on the screen.
Okay. I guess I should start formally opening the meeting. Good evening, everyone. It's Monday, December 8th, 2025. This is a meeting of the Police Commissioners Advisory Committee. We have, I believe, 4 people for quorum. I'm the co-chair. My name is Ron Wilkinson, and I'd like the other voting members of the committee to introduce themselves, please. Maybe we'll start with Scott.
Yeah, C. Scott Ananian, town meeting member, precinct 10, and I'm sorry I can't be there in person, traveling for work this week, but member of the PCAC.
Okay, great. Christine.
Hi, Christine Knopf, a town meeting member 15, also a member of the commission.
Okay, John.
Hi, John Hilliard, town meeting member, precinct 11, and member of the PCAC.
And Kimberly.
Good evening, Kimberly Richardson, town meeting member, precinct 2, also a member of the PCAC.
Okay, so that covers the voting members. I believe we've got our town staff members. So I believe Susan Harris is on. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening. Susan Harris, Associate Town Council.
Okay, and I actually can't see who else may be on. Is someone from the police department on?
David Hill is there. Give me a sec. Hold on. There's also a Michael Cavini and Sam Mintz, but I'm not sure where they're from.
Okay, so Michael Kevin, I believe, is the head of, is he still the patrolman's union?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
And there's David Hill. Please introduce yourself, David.
Hi, Ron. David Hill. I'm a police lieutenant in Brookline. I'm filling in tonight for Deputy Superintendent Paul Campbell.
Okay, great, thanks. So I think, is there anyone from HR on?
No.
Okay. So I think we've got 2 observers. I think. Pardon me?
Christine, if you're speaking to the group, we can't understand you. So if you don't want to hear, if you don't want us to hear you, please mute yourself.
I can undo the audio when I speak to the group. I just turn my audio off because I have a child here, so you don't want to hear him. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, so is that all right?
that's fine.
Seems
Okay,
fine.
thanks.
Okay, so I believe we have 2 observers on. Michael Kivity, I believe is a member of the police department, but he's probably is first of all, if he's on, could he introduce himself?
Michael, if you wish to introduce yourself, please feel free to use the raise hand function or otherwise indicate.
Who's raised hand?
You should feel free to unmute yourself and we can hear you now. Or wait. There you go. And Braga has joined us.
Hi, sorry about that. I was unable to unmute myself there for a second. Yeah, Michael Keaveney, Brookline Police Union President, just here as an observer.
Okay, great. Welcome, Michael. And I believe Sam Mintz is on. I don't know who Sam is. Sam, maybe can you introduce yourself, please?
1 second. Sam, you've been promoted to co-host. Feel free to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the group.
Hey, I'm the editor of Brookline.News, local news outlet, just here listening.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, and we also have an observer in the room. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name's Susan Colley. I live in precinct 7, and I belong to the Livability Committee for seniors, and we're interested in getting more more involved in town activities.
Okay, great. Was everybody able to hear her? Okay, good. Thank you. Welcome. Okay, so I believe at this point that covers everybody who's attending. So we can start on the agenda. Susan, can you please share your screen? Thank you. Okay, so well, we've finished with the introductions. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our October 27th meeting. Does anyone have any comments about the minutes from the October 27th meeting? If not, would someone like to make a motion to approve the
Wait,
minutes?
no, I have one question. When were the minutes sent out? It's Chris.
Good question. I believe, did John send out the minutes to Susan? That's what usually works?
No, they're sent to me.
It's Sarah, sorry.
Yeah, and they were posted. I don't remember when I posted them, to be honest, but I believe it's when I posted the meeting agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so has everyone, have the other members had a chance to look at the minutes? If not, we can just postpone this until our next meeting. So obviously, John, since he did the minutes, has seen them, but how about Kimberly and Scott?
Yeah, I just looked through them just now. They look fine. I'd be happy to approve them today.
Okay, how about you, Kimberly?
I did not look at them. I apologize.
Okay, do you want to take a quick look at them now?
Yep.
I think from my side, the only question I had was like I sort of made up some spellings of people's names from public comment, so I didn't have spellings on everybody. So if there's any obvious errors in spelling, we can address that. But
I fixed the ones I could find.
oh, thank you.
I'm okay with moving forward.
Okay, and Christine, are you okay with looking at the minutes now?
I don't have access to them, so I'll need to pass on approving at this time. I'll abstain.
Yeah, but if 4 of you can vote, then it will pass, but somebody's got to make the motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the minutes. Scott Mannion.
John Hilliard, I'll second that.
Okay, so let's do the vote. John?
John Hilliard, vote aye.
Scott?
Scott Mannion, I vote aye.
Kim?
Kimberly Richardson, I vote aye.
And the chair votes aye. Ron Wilkinson, the chair votes aye. So that's sufficient to pass. I probably should still record you, but do you want to say that you abstained, Chris?
You're on mute, Chris.
Yes, I need to abstain.
Okay. Okay, so we have a majority, so the minutes are passed. Okay, thanks. Next item on the agenda, could you please scroll up? We missed public comments?
No, well, yes, it's public comment.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so is there anyone who would like to make a public comment?
There are 2 members of the public. If you wish to make a comment at this time, please feel free to use the raise hand function. And plus, there's someone in the room. If you wish to make a comment at this time about something not on the agenda, please feel free to let us know.
We just got a new, we got one more person in the waiting room, Almas Dosa.
I can admit them now. Almost Dosa, if you wish to make a comment during public comment, please use the raise hand function and then I'll unmute you. I see no movement.
Okay, so it looks like the public comment is waived by everybody, unless you would like to make a public comment. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're fine. Okay, so let's move on to reports. Monthly civilian feedback report. That's normally you, Sarah, who covers that.
So I submitted a report this month. There was one comment that was received on October 30th, 2025, which was after our last meeting. It was a neutral comment, and the content of the comment can be found in the report. It was counted toward the data, and we now have 60 respondents.
Okay. According to me, I think I missed this. Did you say that the latest comment we got was neutral? I missed that.
Neutral, yes.
Okay.
The latest comment is the one bolded in the handout, right?
Yes, it's always bolded.
Yeah. If I could just
Starts on
briefly
page
read.
5.
Yeah. Let me just briefly read it. They're giving some feedback on the work of the traffic officers at the intersections of Buckminster Road and Sumner Road. And then they say the regular officers, a male and female, who I see the most are absolutely amazing. And then second, for the most part, the officers who substitute for those two when they're off on a different assignment are extremely inactive. And they conclude by saying, maybe I need some clarification. It does not seem like the other officers assist for the most part in the traffic management side of things. So neutral in this case is half positive and half negative, I guess. Figured I'd repeat that so we're all on the same page.
Yeah, that's valuable, and I would expect that, especially if the second part is something that the police department could follow up on, at least informally. Okay, so I think we're up to the next item for the agenda. Okay, so we're going to talk about the revised new civilian feedback form that Sarah has been working on. So go ahead.
So this is hopefully the final draft. So I added a section, a paragraph at the end here. This form does not require respondents to provide an email address to submit their information, encouraging respondents from anyone, including those who want to remain anonymous. However, because of this, the form cannot send respondents a copy of their submissions. The PCAC recommends that respondents save a copy of their submission by taking screenshots or printing them for their records before submitting. The other changes I made to the form are you may choose to identify the police personnel involved here. It is okay if you only know a first name, last name, badge number, or date and time and location. Any of this helps us better identify the personnel. Without some identifying information, the PCAC has a limited ability to follow up on any complaint submitted. And then you wanted some information about what the demographics are used for. The demographic questions below are used to identify patterns of discrimination bias. All of these demographic questions remain optional. And if the committee is comfortable, I can make this form live. I would suggest, just for, I don't know, cleanliness of this process, we leave the old form open till December 31st, and I can make this live in the new year.
Okay, so if we like this, I presume we vote on it?
Yes, I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, okay. So who would like to make a motion that we accept a new version of the civilian feedback form?
I'll take a motion to approve this draft of the civilian feedback form.
So there are no changes anybody wants to make.
I looked at it to me. I'm happy to hear from anyone else who sees something, but you've done great work.
Okay.
It looks like John Hilliard likes it. I see the clapping hands from the screen. So can I take that as a second?
Yes,
John?
John Hilliard, I'll second that motion to approve the new form.
Okay, so let's take a vote. John?
John Hilliard votes aye.
Scott?
Scott Ananian votes aye.
Kim
Kimberly Richardson, I vote aye.
and Christine,
Christine Knopf votes aye.
and the chair, Ron Wilkinson, votes aye. So it's passed. We will move to the new version of the civilian feedback form. And I continue formally that having the old one till the end of the year and beginning of the new year with the new one is fine. I don't see a problem with that. Okay,
Okay,
thanks a lot, Sarah.
thank you. I will make sure it's published. Obviously, the town is not open on January 1st. I will make sure it's published before I leave for the new year and take the other one down. All right?
Okay, sounds great. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, it says review of complaints recently received directly by the PCAC. So to the best of my knowledge, we didn't receive any since last meetings. Is that correct, Sarah? I mean,
I don't believe so. I typically forward you anything I receive if it's through that other form, and I don't remember anything that I like. I always forward you what I get, and so I didn't get anything.
Yeah, so I didn't receive anything like that. So I think we're fine with that topic. Okay, so then the coordinating topics of interest by the members. We'll start with
Juvenile operations is on the agenda.
So Kim, do you have anything to report about juvenile operations?
No, and honestly, we can just take that off the agenda going forward because they've already updated this section. I don't anticipate going back, looking at it at all, so. This doesn't need to be next.
We consider this item just kind of completed and we'll take it off for next time.
Okay.
Does that sound fine?
Yes.
Okay, next, the biannual assessment of the complaint procedure. So after working on it sporadically this year, I finally have what I'm calling a draft review. It's the reason why I'm calling it a draft is because I want to give the members of the committee a chance to give feedback on it. The part that I did is really not that long. It's about 6 pages long. And then the appendix, which is 30 pages long, is just the general order that governs the way the police department handles things. So I think it will be appropriate for me to just briefly just go through the text that Sarah has put up on the screen. So the charter of the PCAC says that every 2 years, we'll do an assessment on how the Brookline Police Department handles civilian complaints. And this report covers calendar years 2023 and 2024. Now the next thing I mentioned is that as of September, there is an updated version of the whole policy for the Brookline Police Department to handle civilian complaints. It's not that different from what was there before. We just modified to incorporate the state level post commission, which governs police departments overall in the state, and there's no practical difference in the way that I can see in the way the department conducts everyday investigations of civilian complaints, but the document does clarify what needs to be there. So then I say that the full general order I have is an appendix which people can look at the leisure. Oh, by the way, I have a hard copy I'm going to give to the observer in the room. If you're interested, this is a complete report. Okay, so now next I mentioned the parts of that 30-page general order that are kind of really relevant for this report. One is that civilians can submit complaints to the police department using any of 4 methods: in person at the police headquarters, via a web form that is from the police section of the town website, and also a web form on the PCAC section of the town website, and a similar web form is complaint form on the diversity, equity, and inclusion community relations section of the town website. You can also phone the Brookline Police Department, or you can send an email to the chief of police or to the select board. Okay, so those are the permitted methods. And then the procedure for when the police department receives a complaint is to route the complaint to the Office of Professional Responsibility, and that office is actually a single lieutenant or deputy superintendent level person who reports directly to the chief of police, not to any other part of the chain of command, and to the select board. And that person, pardon me, I'm going to get up because there's a text box that's on the screen that's blocking my view. So,
Is that helpful? Did I move it up enough?
yeah, you moved it up. Okay, so the complaints are investigated by the Office of Professional Responsibility, and the standard has been that well, first of all, that the internal affairs officer actually has another role. He also investigates. He or she also investigates internal police department problems, like a police disciplinary actions that may need to be taken by misconduct that's reported within the police department. So that person the internal affairs officer handles both civilian complaints and internal department complaints or concerns. Our scope from the PCAC only has to do with the civilian side of it. Okay, so just to mention that. The internal affairs officer has the authority to interview all parties to a complaint, get relevant evidence, assign a level of severity to the complaint, draw conclusions about a complaint, and make recommendations for next steps. And the recommendations and everything, the final report would go normally to the chief of police. May also be sent, if necessary, to the select board on appeal. Okay, so there's details about how complaints received by the PCAC, the DC, or the diversity office gets forwarded to the Office of Commercial Responsibility, and it becomes just as if it was directly received by the police department. Let's see. The main reason for people being able to submit to the PCAC or the diversity office is to help deter the possibility of a complaint being ignored or actively buried by the police department. I will say that I don't think we've got that problem. We have that problem, but you do want to have safeguards that should something like that come up. Okay, so the PCAC also is given the power to assign a neutral observer who can, if desired by the person filing the complaint, to accompany the complainant to interviews conducted by the police department as further verification that the process is fair and the complainant is comfortable with the proceedings. And that comes from the notion that you might have someone who's generally intimidated by the police or whatever and might be uncomfortable, and they want to have a sort of an advocate with them. Okay, if the complaint is dissatisfied, we can appeal to the select board. Okay, that's fine. Next page, Sarah. Okay, so to assess the efficiency, it's worth mentioning that I don't remember if we mentioned it so far, but the investigation is supposed to begin within 2 days. If it's a serious offense, the investigation is supposed to begin within 2 days of receiving the complaint. If it's a less serious offense, the investigation must begin within a week, I believe, of receiving the complaint. Also, normally investigations are supposed to be wrapped up within 30 days of receiving the complaint. Upon appeal to the police chief by the investigator, that time frame can be extended to 60 days, but everything is supposed to be extended to 60 days unless no more than 60 days, unless there's something like an appeal to the select board. which can happen, take longer. So, to kind of follow up on how that was going, there were 10 complaints we received in 2023, 13 in 2024, and I just did a few statistics on the number of days it took to complete the investigation. So in 2023, the fastest one was wrapped up in a day. The longest one took 91 days. That was an outlier. Everything else was well within the 60-day limit. I believe the 91 days, had to do with a particular select board appeal. And I believe that the select board upheld the original conclusion. So there was no change in the outcome. In 2024, there were 13 complaints. The shortest investigation was 4 days. The maximum was 51 days. What I thought was interesting is that in 2024, the median, so half of the complaints were finished within 2 weeks, which is like half the 30-day time completed. And the other ones were still all within 51 days. So my impression is that the efficiency of the investigation increased in 2024. And that was good to see. And there were no special appeals in 2024. And the graphs below just kind of, it's not a summary. The table is a kind of a summary. The two graphs just kind of show for each of the investigations. So you see the 2023 one, you see how many days it took. And the 2024 ones, you see how many days it took. You can see that on average, the 2024 ones take less time. So those are the main days to complete investigation statistics that I have. Okay, go to the next page, Sarah. Okay, so I put some conclusions in there. Those two, which are pretty much the ones I just said, those 3 bullet points. Next thing I have are the particular ways that complainants submitted their complaints. So the 7 were from out of those 2 years. Actually, 13. That's just for 2024. Sorry, for 2024, I didn't have the 2023 ones readily available, so I put in 2024. I can add that later though. So there were 7 complaints from the police webpage on the town website. There was 1 from the PCAC webpage on the town website. Interesting, there were 2 from the civilian feedback form, which is the one we're switching to Google at the end of the year. Just to refresh memories, the civilian feedback form can be used for praise as well as complaints. Usually it's just comments without a formal complaint being filed, but this time there were 2 concerns that did come from the civilian feedback form and were forwarded to the police department. There was 1 complaint that was received via voicemail. That was the only way it was reported. That to me sounds like voicemail to a non-emergency number in the department. Then 1 was received as an email to the chief with the select board CC'd. And 1 was a call to the dispatcher, which I interpreted as a 911 call. David, can you clarify, would a call to the dispatcher be a 911 call, or are there other ways of calling the dispatcher?
No, the business line also goes to the police dispatches.
Okay, the business line also, so was it?
So that could have been more than likely that probably wasn't a 911.
Yeah, okay, so I may take out the part that says 911. So it could have been otherwise not a call to the dispatcher. Okay, so everything except through the DEI office were used in 2024. I believe there was 1 to the DEI office in 2023, but and I think there have been a couple in 2025, but we're not covering 2025 yet. Okay, next page, please. Okay, so then we get to resolution of outcomes. So in 2023, one is reported as resolved through mediation between the complainant and the police department employee. The one that says not presses for policy, I believe the complaint was filed about an incident that occurred more than 6 months previous, and the policy is that the events are too stale more than 6 months back, and so those are not processed for policy. So that was what happened there. One complaint was not sustained, meaning that there was an investigation, and it was found that the investigation showed that the complaint was not correct. Allegation cannot be, pardon me, I should look at the definitions in there. It's definition C, not sustained. Allegation cannot be either proven or disproved. So it's not sustained. And then unfounded is what means that there was no misconduct. So that was 2023. In 2024, show up a little bit for 2024, please. Yeah, thanks. So in 2024, 3 complaints were withdrawn. That happened when complaints were filed. The IA officer talked with the complainants. In some cases, there was actually discussion, mediated discussion between them, between the complainant and the subject of the complaint. And in 3 cases, there was basically a reconciliation, and the complainant decided that to withdraw the complaint because they now agreed that no misconduct had occurred. A frivolous complaint means that it was kind of completely off the line and didn't merit investigation. Filed basically means, and I think I've got that. If you scroll down a little bit for the definition of filed. Yeah, filed means no action necessary or possible at this time. That could be for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes the complaint was anonymous, and so there was no way to follow up with the person who made the complaint. And I think at least there have also been cases over time where the complaint was anonymous, but they couldn't identify it just said some member of the police department, but they couldn't identify who, and they couldn't even identify the exact location where the incident was supposed to occur. So there was no way to follow up. So they just kind of filed it as kind of there, but pending further action, there was no way of doing anything about it. So unfounded, as we see, that was 3 cases. And in 2024, 2 cases were sustained. And as it turned out that those 2 cases were about the same person. It was a parking control officer who was apparently very rude to citizens. And some of it was even caught up on video, I believe. And so it was sustained. And for two separate incidents for the same person sustained. And I'm told appropriate disciplinary action was taken for that parking patrol officer. So that pretty much covers those 2 years. Okay, next page, please. Okay, so those were just statistics that you got from the records. But what I was able to do during 2024 is I got permission to go to the police headquarters and look myself through all of the records associated with the complaints. Before that, they had sometimes sent us redacted records, but I found there were things you just couldn't figure out by looking at redacted records. So I looked at I was able to get access to the full records, which I was only able to look at within police headquarters. It took 2 days, and they were a couple of months. They were months apart because I only have so much time. I'm working full time, etc. But just my general conclusions from looking at the records in my notes is the typical complaint types have been rudeness, generally speaking, complainants felt there was inappropriate reprimanding of civilians in what the civilian thought was something innocuous. That could be something like parking for they consider like a minute in a no parking zone to run into a store and come out again, and they don't believe they deserve to get a ticket for something like that. But that's not the way they're illegal, and the police knows it. And interesting ones have been, I think there were a couple of cases of failure to enforce the bicycle car interaction. It's what happens when, say, a car parks in a bike lane and a cyclist gets very upset about it. And the person parked in the bike lane may might be one of those cases of running in and running out and feeling that it's not, and the police is called, and the police officer wanted to just kind of, might say, sort of mediate between the two. But there was dissatisfaction often on the part of the bicyclists, feeling that we've got by laws concerning bicycling, but cars are getting favorable treatment, and so that was kind of taken back as a noted, and I believe it's possible that there will be revised policy on what to do about bicycle car interactions like that. The other another common complaint type has been there was a dispute between two civilians. One of them calls the police, and the police tries to mediate. And one of the people in the dispute feels that the police took the side of the other person. There were some interesting cases like that. Well, one or two interesting cases like that. One of them actually was initially withdrawn when all the parties got together. The IO brought the parties together, got witnesses together, and they talked it out, and the complaint was eventually withdrawn. But that was an interesting one. My general conclusions about the way the investigations have gone, I think the investigating officer, they've been very conscientious about following up on the protocols, like staying within the appropriate, trying to completing the investigations in the allotted time, emphasizing mediation between the complainant and the subject of the complaint, which seems to be successful often in people understanding each other. I know there were cases in which both the police officer and the complainant said they were both hot under the collar, and they kind of apologized to each other, kind of a thing. These things seem to get resolved relatively calmly, which I think is very admirable. When more investigation is needed, the IAO has been able to look at things like body cameras or surveillance cameras from that happen to be in the neighborhood, from private businesses, and that's been helpful in a couple of cases. That's pretty much it. Go to the next page. I pretty much discussed everything that's on this page. Okay, this is just the appendix. This is the full general order that governs how the investigations of civilian complaints occur. It's 30 pages long, more than 30 pages long. Those of you who have it in the agenda packet can look at it at your leisure. I've given a hard copy to the observer who's in the room now. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I have to say. Are there any comments on this? Looks like Chad has his hand up.
Yeah, I've got a few things. First, thanks for doing this work. This is a fantastic first draft. I had a couple suggestions for things you could possibly include. I think it's worth, you just mentioned the not processed due to policy outcome. I think that deserves to be written down in the report. I think it would be a little confusing to someone reading. It's sort of the one category definition which isn't defined there. That's a minor thing. I am curious if you were interested in doing more statistics about the severity versus the source. I wonder if the more serious severities tend to be from one of these sources. Is it the case that the serious ones come from directly from the police webpage or from some other source? I don't know if we actually have enough volume to draw any conclusions. I'm just kind of curious about if there's a pattern there. And then a few things I thought could be included in your conclusions. One, just a different. You mentioned the different submission routes. A brief mention of the fact that the procedures for following up are different for those submission routes. In particular, I think well, this is somewhat related. The civilian feedback form, you know, the count is 2, but we actually had a lot more submissions to the civilian feedback form. They just weren't all escalated into this complaint process. I think it's probably worth mentioning. I'd be actually interested in quantifying that, because I think by volume, most of our feedback on the police department is via that civilian feedback form. It's just that most of it is either neutral or positive. Just looking at my notes here, yeah, maybe include the total number of civilian feedback form submissions versus the number of complaints. And then on the author's conclusions, I think you could probably just change that to committee's conclusions. Well, I think the process is that we're going to vote on that, and all of your conclusions are conclusions I'm happy as a member of the committee to endorse. Oh, the other thing I had mentioned was maybe a brief mention of the follow-up issue, which has been something that we've been working on for 2 years. You mentioned, again, something you mentioned orally just now, but in terms of writing, that the fact that a number of these complaints that we just can't follow up on because either we can't contact the original respondent, they were anonymous, or there wasn't enough information about the officer, and that is something that we're trying to address in the new form that will go live on the 1st of the year or 2nd of the year. So something we're trying, presumably future reports will follow up on how well we are doing with that issue. Anyway, those were my comments. Thanks again for your work there.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Would anybody else like to comment?
David-
Ron, can I ask you a
David
quick
Hill's
question?
hand is up.
Sure.
I'm sorry if I missed it. Was there anything that differentiates complaints against sworn police officers versus civilian personnel of the police department? Like you shared with us that the 2 sustained complaints were both for civilian parking clerks. Is that specified anywhere that those are for civilian employees?
Yeah. I didn't specifically say that they were civilians. I did name them as parking clerks. But I believe, well, okay, see, it sounds like you would like me to be more explicit about sworn personnel versus civilians.
I think that would be helpful for anyone reading. I think that's what they would be interested in, is the complaints against sworn police officers.
Just following up on that, like if we had a complaint against a clerk in the the town clerk's department that they were rude, that would, we don't even have a process for recording those complaints, so those complaints would get reported like this. So I agree with sorry, Officer Hill, what is your title? I always forget.
It's Lieutenant Hill. David's fine.
Lieutenant. Sorry, Lieutenant Hill is right to try to distinguish those in our reporting.
Would anyone else like to comment? So I'm wondering if it would also be appropriate to have any of the observers comment if they would like.
If anyone wishes to comment, please use the raise hand function. I see no movement.
Okay. I think we're fine. Okay, I guess we can go back to the agenda.
Second.
By the way, I will follow up on the comments and send it out.
Michael, Michael, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading everyone because I'm handling so much tonight. But there is somebody with their hand up now. Feel free to unmute. Hold on.
Yeah, thank you. Michael Keaveney, Brookline Police Union President. I just wanted to comment on that aspect as well. I was not aware that complaints against the police department as part of this calculation included civilians. I thought this was only sworn police officers. So I think it would be important to separate the two between, you know, whether it's a sworn officer or a parking clerk, or you know, maybe, I don't know. Now I'm not even sure. Like if someone, a staff member in the police department, like a janitor, if they get a complaint against them, would that be calculated in there as well? I'm just
Yeah,
not
we
sure.
can separate those out, but there is the ability for people to submit complaints about an employee of the police department. It wouldn't likely be a janitor, but it might be a desk clerk or someone like that.
Okay, so it includes anybody who's hired and works within the public safety building, is that?
Yeah,
Correct.
essentially, that's true.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, so I guess let's go on to the next item on the agenda, please.
Um,
Okay, so yeah, so do we have any? Well, separate Deputy Superintendent Campbell is not here. Lieutenant Hill, do you have any information about recent ICE activity in Brookline?
Yes, I do. I have several cases to share with you all. Two from last month, one from earlier this month, and then one that's from a couple months ago, but it has had some national media attention as of late. So I'll briefly talk about that one too. But starting with the November incidents, November 2nd, 2025, we had a suspect that was arrested for shoplifting over $500 worth of stolen items from Trader Joe's. A ICE detainer was sent over to the police department. The police department notified ICE or advised ICE that we would not hold or assist. The detainer was provided to the arrestee, placed in their property, and they were also verbally advised of the detainer. They were subsequently released from custody by a bail commissioner. Upon being released, and once they were no longer in the custody of the Brookline Police Department, they were taken into custody by ICE agents in the lobby of the police station. They did have a family member present and was aware of the ICE arrest. And again, that was November 2nd. Does anyone have any questions on that? Or you want me to go through them and then we can have a discussion? I'll just go through them all and then we can talk about them. November 3rd, 2025, there was a suspect wanted for some serious charges, which included aggravated rape of a young child. The suspect was aware that they were wanted. They attempted to flee the country and were arrested at Logan Airport while trying to leave the country. They transferred to court on November 3rd, no longer in the custody of the Brookline Police Department. ICE was present at the court. However, they shared that their intent there was not to deport the suspect, just that if the judge decided to release the suspect, they would take the suspect into ICE custody and transport them to court to attend all hearings and appearances there. The suspect was held without bail, and later a dangerousness hearing was held. The suspect was found to be dangerous and held without bail for 120 days. So that suspect is not in ICE custody. They just I guess they were monitoring that case. All right, the 1 December case so far, December 2nd, suspect was arrested after a domestic assault and battery incident where a roommate was assaulted several times by getting punched in the head. And also the suspect had threatened to kill the victim. Suspect was arrested. They provided a false name at booking. Once fingerprints were returned, their true identity was discovered. And ICE contacted, sent a detainer. The suspect was advised of the detainer. They were held on bail and brought to court on the next morning. So now this is December 2nd. ICE no longer in the custody of the Brookline Police Department. ICE went to court, and when the subject was released by the court, they were taken into custody outside of the courthouse building. And then the last one, which I had mentioned, had been in the national media. I think it was middle to end of last week. A lot of that information came from a press release that the Department of Homeland Security had issued on December 4th. I went through that just to fact check it on the parts relevant to the Brookline Police Department. This was a individual who was arrested after discharging an air rifle outside of a Brookline synagogue on the eve of Yom Kippur. They were arrested for discharging a air rifle across a public way, disturbing the peace, disorderly conduct, and vandalizing property. They were bailed. They were arraigned in court, and that was kind of the end of our involvement. The press release does say that the suspect or the subject accepted a plea deal on the charge of discharging the air rifle, and the other charges were dismissed. I talked to the court today and confirmed that that is accurate. And then the reports that have been in the media are that that subject had made a deal with ICE to depart the country to avoid deportation, the deportation process. Oh, and those are the ones I have involving ICE.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, are there any comments? Looks like Scott has come.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up briefly on the one from November 2nd. In that case, the transfer to ICE or the ICE arrest happened in the lobby of the police department. You mentioned.
Yes,
I think that's the first time that's happened. Usually that occurs immediately outside the department, not on town property. Is that correct? Is that the first time that they've actually been on town property when they've made their arrest, we'll say?
I couldn't tell you if it's the first time it's happened in the lobby. I do know that the reports that I've seen from Deputy Campbell, I agree with you. They typically, it seems to be that the arrests are made outside of the police station, but this one specifically was made in the lobby of the police station.
Yeah, I'll say that bothers me a little bit. Certainly, it's a slippery slope. I don't want our town to slide further down, if that makes sense, right? And then the other question I had was on the November 3rd case, the suspect who was arrested at Logan. I'm not sure how the Brookline Police Department was involved in that. And I don't know if you've got more details.
It was a Brookline police warrant. The crime occurred in Brookline.
Okay.
So the suspect was fleeing the country. It was, I believe it was partner law enforcement agencies that made the arrests and then turned them back over to Brookline. I'm not sure if there were also Brookline officers at the airport to assist with that arrest, but that's kind of how it played out with the other agencies.
And just because I'm trying to understand how the mechanism of justice works here, when they were turned back over to Brookline custody, did they go into the holding cell in our police station and then get transferred to county jail for their 120 days? Is that where they would be now?
The 120 days came after they were already in county custody. I can I don't have our booking info pulled up, so I can't tell you if I'm assuming they were not bailed and went directly from Brookline custody to the court just because of the severity of the crime and the fact that it was a warrant. But I don't have the confirmation of that up right now. That's
So the
definitely
basic process was state police or whatever affiliated agency made the arrest at Logan, possibly with BPD assistance, possibly not. They were transferred to Brookline, to our facility, at least briefly, and then transferred from the county jail. That was sort of where our direct involvement ends.
you know what? Let me double check that, Scott, because now
Okay.
I'm in the booking system, and there's also like normal procedure would also be that if an out of town agency makes the arrest and they would make the arrest on the warrant, keep the person in their custody, and then transfer them to court. So if it was the state police who have jurisdiction at the airport, if they made the arrest and kept custody of that person, they would have gone directly from state police custody to Brookline Court for arraignment. So that would be the difference if Brookline was on scene. I don't see any record of it in our booking system. So I can double check that, but that seems to be like an appropriate procedure for how that would have gone down.
Thanks. Yeah, and that one is me just trying to understand the procedures and where our town is involved and what, to what extent we can and do anything about the process. I'll just say I'm a little disturbed about the November 2nd case. I'd prefer to keep that bright line between our town PD and the ICE officers. But other than that, thank you for the update.
Okay, any additional comments? Thank you very much, Lieutenant Hill. So next item on the agenda.
Oops, sorry.
Hey, do we have any more information about that? The flat camera that was system that was going to be installed by Chestnut Hill, and how whether or not the Brookline Police are going to subscribe to getting information from those cameras. Do we have any? Yeah, is this something that you're familiar with, Lieutenant Hill?
Yeah, so I was with you all for the last meeting, and I believe since then, that's when the select board at their meeting addressed it. And since then, Chestnut Hill Realty has paused making any progress on acquiring the cameras. And as far as I know, they have not, at least have not notified the police department that they have revisited obtaining those cameras. So no progress on that.
Okay, so that's still good information. Thank you.
Can I just ask one clarifying question there?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess even if CHR hasn't installed the cameras, one point of clarification would be, I assume then we haven't signed the MOU, or has there been any progress on because it seems like that could be signed regardless of the cameras being installed.
Now, it's my understanding that the select board tabled authorization to sign the MOU. So that's in limbo now.
Got it.
Okay, thank you. Scott, you have your hand up?
Yeah, my question was going to be the same, just wondering about the progress of the MOU. I'll just add, I think town council was going to review the legalese of the MOU as well. So I'd be curious if they are, if they did do that, any conclusions they reached, or if everything is just on pause.
So it says
Susan Harris, Associate Town Council.
Oh, there we go. Thanks.
we began reviewing it, and then my understanding is that's on pause, given that things aren't moving forward at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, next item on the agenda. Okay, future topics, generally speaking. So, I actually have a couple of thoughts there. First of all, at the, when we filed the committee's annual report, we noted to the select board that there were some aspects of the charter for the PCAC that we really haven't had a chance to implement, simply because there have been too few of us. We might, well, there are a couple of things we could perhaps at the next meeting take down a list of all of those things and see whether or not we think we could do them with existing personnel, or whether we need to petition the select board to give us more support, either staff support or additional members. And we especially since the ruling last year that for any given, I'll call it project, that only one PCAC voting member can kind of lead the project because of the open meeting laws. If two members met outside the meeting in a non-public meeting about a project, that would be a violation. So it worked out practically that only one member can guide a project, although they can work with staff on this project. So that definitely cut down on the amount of work we could get done. So there's that general sort of framework. I can talk a bit about. I'll mention a few things that might be of interest. One of them is that the charter says that if members of the PCAC, any members of the PCAC are interested in monitoring training, police department training of officers, that we could arrange to attend a training session. I don't think we've had a strong need to do that, but it is one of the options if anybody is interested. So that's one thing. Another thing is, by the way, and that is part of an aspect of a general mandate to review and understand the police department's training programs. It seems to me after a few years ago when the chief kind of talked a bit about training programs, it kind of in general, like how often they occur, and that kind of thing, especially with regards to use of force and dealing with people with possibly mental health options. We got a little review about that. I see that Scott, as usual, has his hand up and would like to comment about these things. So go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I'll volunteer. I'd be interested in attending those. I think the first step, I mean, not all of them, obviously, right? So I think the first step might be to ask the chief for a list of upcoming trainings, and then we could discuss it as a committee to see if there's any specific. I see John agreeing with me too, to see if there's anything of special interest to one of our committee members that we could follow up on. I just feel like committee members in general, we do our job best if we understand, as much as possible the perspective of the officers and the training they're receiving. I'm certainly willing to put in the time if that's something that is appropriate.
Okay, that makes.
And just while I don't want to interrupt you too much, I'll just mention for future topics, we did talk about a review of the body camera system. I haven't gotten around to scheduling that with the BPD yet, but I'm happy to keep working on that.
Do you think you could have something about that for our next meeting?
That That is January 26th. Yes, I think so. I mean, it depends on the availability of the BBD, but I'll bring that up with them and see if we can do that.
Okay, that seems good.
Sorry for interrupting you.
Okay, the other thing that we haven't done that so far hasn't appeared to be necessary, but as part of facilitating or supporting people who make complaints who have complaints about the police department, it is an option for a complainant to have a member, either of a liaison, which would be from the DEI office, or a member of the PCAC committee to actually accompany the complainant to interviews with the personal accountability officer, kind of sit through things as a kind of a support. No one has asked for that. I'm not supporting anybody. I'm not completely sure that it's even well publicized that that is an option. My impression has been that things have gone pretty. I haven't seen anything problematical about that not happening. But it's just interesting that that's a part of our charter, and it's just not something that we've used. I'll put it that way. So just a comment. Let's see. Yeah, those are the only things of note that I thought of that we might want to address. Are there other things we want to address that other people have I just thoughts about that they'd like to investigate or otherwise discuss? Just like we're are we good?
I'll just say, I mean, at one point we were trying to do a systematic review of the entire policy document, which is a big task. I don't know that we've got the bandwidth to tackle all of that, but if there are, perhaps as part of a conversation with the chief, if there are sections which are coming up for review in accreditation or other processes, that might be something that we can use as a spur to action, perhaps. I guess what I'm proposing is, instead of trying just a top to bottom review of the policy document, maybe to participate in any reviews that are otherwise occurring.
Okay, that's a good idea. Any other comments about that or about other things?
I'll just mention, like I do every month, that another update on ICE activity should probably be in next month's agenda as well.
Yeah, well, I'll leave that on, definitely leave that on. Okay, Lieutenant Hill has raised his hand.
Yeah, I just want to share, Deputy Superintendent Campbell is up for promotion in the next few weeks. So I don't know if he's going to continue to be the liaison on this committee, or if the deputy superintendent replacing him is, or if an interim I'll be covering until that decision is made. So just so everyone's aware, not sure who will be with you all in January, but if you want to include me on any of the emails, I can make sure that whoever it is prepared to meet with you all next month.
Okay, that's a noted. Thank you. Okay, so I think that please put up the agenda again, Sarah. I think that's the end of the agenda.
That an invitation to make a motion.
Yep. Okay, yeah.
Hold on. You no longer have quorum, so there's no motion to make.
Oh, So I guess-
The chair can end the meeting, but there is no vote you can take with less than 5
Okay,
members.
okay, I just got, you said there was no need to have a motion to adjourn?
You can't make you can't have a vote because you don't have a quorum. So
Oh, because,
Christine left. So you as the chair can end the meeting without a vote.
Sarah, do we still have, I think we still have 4, don't we?
We have 4, but I thought 5 made quorum in this group.
no, I don't think so.
Okay,
mean-
I apologize.
Yeah, we said one.
Okay,
Okay, so, do I have a motion to adjourn?
John, do you want to make it this week?
Move to adjourn. John Hilliard.
I'll second that.
Okay,
I'll
so
second
you-
that, Scott Onion.
Okay, okay, fine. So, how does Scott vote?
Aye. Scott
Uh,
Onion, aye.
Yeah, Kim,
Kimberly Richardson, I.
John,
John Hilliard, aye.
and the chair votes aye. So meeting is adjourned. See everybody January 26th.
Thank you very
Night.
much.
good night,
Goodbye.
everybody.